Sunday, February the 1st, 4th after Epiphany. There was a lot of shouting downstairs late last night. The kitchen waste bin was knocked over and the back door kept being slammed. I wish my parents would be a bit more thoughtful. I have been through an emotional time and I need my sleep. Still, I don't expect them to understand what it is like being in love. They have been married for 14.5 years. Went to Bert Baxter's this afternoon, but thank God he has gone to Skegness with the evergreens. Sabre looked out of the living room window. I gave him the V sign. I hope he doesn't remember. Monday, February the 2nd. Presentation. Mrs. Lucas is back. I saw her pulling trees and bushes out of the earth and putting them in the back of a van. Then she put all the gardening tools in and drove off. The van had Women's Refuge painted on the side. Mr. Lucas came over to our house to talk to my mother. I went down to say hello to him, but he was too upset to notice me. I asked my mother if she would get home early from work tonight. I'm fed up with waiting for my tea. She didn't. Nigel got thrown out of school dinners today for swearing at the toad in the hole. He said it was all bleeding hole and no toad. I think Mrs. Leach was quite right to throw him out. After all, the first years were present. We third years must set an example. Pandora has got up a petition to protest about the toad in the hole. I will not sign it. It was Good Samaritans today, so I was forced to go round to Bert Baxter's. I have missed the algebra test. Ha ha ha. Bert gave me a stick of broken Skegness rock and said he was sorry he rang the school to complain about the hedge clippers. He said he was lonely and wanted to hear a human voice. If I was the loneliest person in the world, I wouldn't phone up our school. I would ring the speaking clock. That talks to you every 10 seconds. Tuesday, February the 3rd. My mother has not done any proper housework for days now. All she does is go to work, comfort Mr. Lucas, and read and smoke. The big end has gone on my father's car. I had to show him where to catch a bus into town. A man of 40 not knowing where the bus stop is. My father looked such a scruff bag that I was ashamed to be seen with him. I was glad when the bus came. I shouted through the window that he couldn't sit downstairs and smoke, but he just waved and lit up a cigarette. There is a £50 fine for doing that. If I was in charge of the buses, I would fine smokers £1,000 and make them eat 20 woodbines. My mother is reading The Female Eunuch by Germaine Greer. My mother says it is the sort of book that changes your life. It hasn't changed mine, but I only glanced through it. It is full of dirty words. Wednesday, February the 4th. New moon. I had my first wet dream. So my mother was right about the female eunuch. It has changed my life. The spot has got smaller. Thursday, February the 5th. My mother has bought some of those overalls that painters and decorators wear. You can see her knickers through them. I hope she doesn't wear them in the street. She is having her ears pierced tomorrow. I think she is turning into a spendthrift. Nigel's mother is a spendthrift. They are always getting letters about having their electricity cut off, and all because Nigel's mother buys a pair of high heels every week. I would like to know where the family allowance goes. By rights, it should be mine. I will ask my mother tomorrow. Friday, February the 6th. The Queen's Accession, 1952. It is lousy having a working mother. She rushes in with big bags of shopping, cooks the tea, then rushes around tarting herself up. But she is still not doing any tidying up before comforting Mr. Lucas. There has been a slice of bacon between the cooker and the fridge for 3 days, to my knowledge. I asked her about my family allowance today. She laughed and said she used it for buying gin and cigarettes. If the social services hear about it, she will get done. Saturday, February the 7th. My mother and father have been shouting at each other non-stop for hours. It started because of the bacon down the side of the fridge and carried on into how much my father's car is costing to repair. I went up to my room and put my ABBA records on. My father had the nerve to crash my door open and ask me to turn the volume down. I did. When he got downstairs, I turned it up again. Nobody cooked any dinner, so I went to the Chinese chip shop and bought a carton of chips and a sachet of soy sauce. I sat in the bus shelter and ate them, then walked about feeling sad. Came home, fed dog, read a bit of Female Eunuch, felt a bit funny, went to sleep. Sunday, February the 8th, 5th after Epiphany. My father came into my bedroom this morning. He said he wanted a chat. He looked at my Kevin Keegan scrapbook, screwed the knob of my wardrobe door back on with his Swiss Army knife, and asked me about school. Then he said he was sorry about yesterday and the shouting. He said my mother and him are going through a bad patch. He asked me if I had anything to say. I said he owed me 32 pence for the Chinese chips and soy sauce. He gave me £1, so I made a profit of 68 pence. Monday, February the 9th. There was a removal lorry outside Mr. Lucas's house this morning. Mrs. Lucas and some other women were carrying furniture from the house and stacking it on the pavement. Mr. Lucas was looking out from his bedroom window. He looked a bit frightened. Mrs. Lucas was laughing and pointing up to Mr. Lucas, and all the other women started laughing and singing, "Why was he born so beautiful?" My mother phoned Mr. Lucas up and asked him if he was all right. Mr. Lucas said he wasn't going to work today because he had to guard the stereo and records from his wife. My father helped Mrs. Lucas put the gas stove in the removal van, then he and my mother walked to the bus stop together. I walked behind them because my mother was wearing long dangly earrings and my father's trouser turn-ups had come down. They started to quarrel about something, so I crossed over the road and went to school the long way round. Bert Baxter was okay today. He told me about the First World War. He said his life was saved by a Bible he always carried in his breast pocket. He showed me the Bible. It was printed in 1956. I think Bert is going a bit senile. Pandora, the memory of you is a constant torment. Tuesday, February the 10th. Mr. Lucas is staying with us until he gets some new furniture. My father has gone to Matlock to try to sell electric storage heaters to a big hotel. Our gas boiler has packed in. It is freezing cold. Wednesday, February the 11th, first quarter. My father rang up from Matlock to say he has lost his Barclay card and can't get home tonight, so Mr. Lucas and my mother were up all night trying to mend the boiler. I went down at 10 o'clock to see if I could help, but the kitchen door was jammed. Mr. Lucas said he couldn't open it just at that moment because he was at a crucial stage with the boiler and my mother was helping him and she had her hands full. Thursday, February the 12th, Lincoln's birthday. I found my mother dyeing her hair in the bathroom tonight. This has come as a complete shock to me. For 13 3/4 years I have thought I had a mother with red hair. Now I find out that it is really light brown. My mother asked me not to tell my father. What a state their marriage must be in. I wonder if my father knows that she wears a padded bra. She doesn't hang them on the line to dry, but I have seen them shoved down the side of the airing cupboard. I wonder what other secrets my mother has got. Friday, February the 13th. It was an unlucky day for me, all right. Pandora doesn't sit next to me in geography anymore. Barry Kent does. He kept copying my work and blowing bubblegum in my ears. I told Miss Elf, but she is scared of Barry Kent as well, so she didn't say anything to him. Pandora looked luscious today. She was wearing a split skirt which showed her legs. She has got a scab on one of her knees. She was wearing Nigel's football scarf round her wrist, but Miss Elf saw it and told her to take it off. Miss Elf is not scared of Pandora. I have sent her a Valentine's Day card. Pandora, not Miss Elf. Saturday, February the 14th, St. Valentine's Day. I only got one Valentine's Day card. It was in my mother's handwriting, so it doesn't count. My mother had a massive card delivered. It was so big that a GPO van had to bring it to the door. She went all red when she opened the envelope and saw the card. It was dead good. There was a big satin elephant holding a bunch of plastic flowers in its trunk, and a bubble coming out of its mouth saying, "Hi, honey bun, I ain't never gonna forget you." There was no name written inside, just drawings of hearts with Pauline written inside them. My father's card was very small and had a bunch of purple flowers on the front. My father had written on the inside, "Let's try again." Here is the poem I wrote inside Pandora's card. Pandora, I adore you. I implore ye, don't ignore me. I wrote it left-handed so that she wouldn't know it was from me. Sunday, February the 15th. Septuagesima. Mr. Lucas moved back to his empty house last night. I expect he got fed up with all the rowing over the elephant Valentine's Day card. I told my father that my mother can't help it if a man secretly admires her. My father gave a nasty laugh and said, "You've got a lot to learn, son." I cleared off to my grandma's at dinner time. She cooked me a proper Sunday dinner with gravy and individual Yorkshire puddings. She is never too busy to make real custard either. I took the dog with me, and we all went for a walk in the afternoon to settle our dinners. My grandma hasn't spoken to my mother since the row about the cardigans. Grandma says she won't set foot in that house again. Grandma asked me if I believed in life after death. I said I didn't, and Grandma told me that she had joined the spiritualist church and has heard my granddad talking about his rhubarb. My granddad has been dead for 4 years. She is going on Wednesday night to try to get in touch with him again, and she wants me to go with her. She says I have got an aura around me. The dog choked on a chicken bone, but we held it upside down and banged it hard, and the bone fell out. I've left the dog at Grandma's to recover from its ordeal. Looked up Septuagesima in my pocket dictionary. It didn't have it. We'll look in the school dictionary tomorrow. Lay awake for ages, thinking about God, life and death, and Pandora. Monday, February the 16th. Washington's birthday observance. A letter from the BBC. A white oblong envelope with BBC in red fat letters. My name and address on the front. Could it be that they wanted my poems? Alas, no, but a letter from a bloke called John Tidyman. Here is what he wrote. Dear Adrian Mole, thank you for the poems which you sent to the BBC and which somehow landed up on my desk. I read them with interest, and taking into account your tender years, I must confess that they do show some promise. However, they are not of sufficient quality for us to consider including them in any of our current poetry programs. Have you thought of offering them to your school magazine or to your local parish magazine, if you have one? If in future you wish to submit any of your work to the BBC, may I suggest you get it typed out and retain also a copy for yourself. The BBC does not normally consider submissions in handwritten manuscript form, and despite the neatness of presentation, I did have some difficulty in making out all of the words, particularly at the end of one poem entitled The Tap, where there was a rather nasty blotch which had caused the ink to run. A tea stain or a tear stain? A case of your tap runneth over? Since you wish to follow a literary career, I suggest you will need to develop a thick skin in order to accept many of the inevitable future rejections you may receive with good grace and the minimum of personal pain. With my best wishes to you for future literary efforts, and above all, good luck, yours sincerely, John Tidyman. P.S. I enclose a poem by a certain John Mole which appeared in this week's Times Literary Supplement. Is he a relation? It is very good. My mother and father were really impressed. I kept getting it out and reading it at school. I was hoping one of the teachers would ask to read it, but none of them did. Bert Baxter read it while I was doing his rotten washing up. He said they were all a load of drug addicts at the BBC. His brother-in-law's uncle once lived next door to a tea lady at Broadcasting House, so Bert knows all about the BBC. Pandora got 17 Valentine's Day cards. Nigel got 7. Even Barry Kent, whom everybody hates, got 3. I just smiled when everybody asked me how many I got. Anyway, I bet I'm the only person in the school to get a letter from the BBC. Tuesday, February the 17th. Barry Kent said he would do me over unless I gave him 25 pence every day. I told him that he was wasting his time demanding money with menaces from me. I never have any spare money. My mother puts my pocket money straight into my building society account and gives me 15 pence a day for a Mars bar. Barry Kent said I would have to give him my dinner money. I told him that my father pays it by cheque since it went up to 60 pence a day. But Barry Kent hit me in the ghoulies and walked off saying there's more where that came from. I have put my name down for a paper round. Wednesday, February the 18th. Full moon. Woke up with a pain in my ghoulies. Told my mother. She wanted to look, but I didn't want her to, so she said I would have to soldier on. She wouldn't give me a note excusing me from games, so I had to stumble around in the mud again. Barry Kent trod on my head in the scrum. Mr. Jones saw him and sent him off for an early shower. I wish I could have a non-painful illness so I could be excused games. Something like a weak heart would be all right. Fetched the dog from Grandma's. She has given it a shampoo and set. It smells like the perfume counter in Woolworths. I went to the spiritualist meeting with my grandma. It was full of dead old people. One madman stood up and said he had a radio inside his head which told him what to do. Nobody took any notice of him, so he sat down again. A woman called Alice Tonks started grunting and rolling her eyes about and talking to somebody called Arthur Mayfield, but my granddad kept quiet. My grandma was a bit sad, so when we got home I made her a cup of Horlicks. She gave me 50 pence, and I walked home with the dog. Started reading Animal Farm by George Orwell. I think I might like to be a vet when I grow up. Thursday, February the 19th. Prince Andrew born, 1960. It's all right for Prince Andrew. He is protected by bodyguards. He doesn't have Barry Kent nicking money off him. 50 pence gone just like that. I wish I knew karate. I would chop Barry Kent in his windpipe. It is quiet at home. My parents are not speaking to each other. Friday, February the 20th. Barry Kent told Miss Elf to get stuffed in geography today, so she sent him to Mr. Scruton to be punished. I hope he gets 50 lashes. I am going to make friends with Craig Thomas. He is one of the biggest third years. I bought him a Mars bar in break today. I pretended I felt sick and didn't feel like eating it myself. He said, "Tar, Moley." That is the first time he has spoken to me. If I play my cards right, I could be in his gang. Then Barry Kent wouldn't dare touch me again. My mother is reading another sex book. It is called The Second Sex by a frog writer called Simone de Beauvoir. She left it on the coffee table in the living room where anybody could have seen it, even my grandma. Saturday, February the 21st. Had a dead good dream that Sabre was brutally savaging Barry Kent. Mr. Scruton and Miss Elf were watching. Pandora was there. She was wearing her split skirt. She put her arms round me and said, "I am of the second sex." Then I woke up to find I had had my second WD. I have put my pyjamas in the washing machine so my mother doesn't find out. Had a good look at my face in the bathroom mirror today. I have got 5 spots as well as the one on my chin. I have got a few hairs on my lip. It looks as if I shall have to start shaving soon. Went to the garage with my father. He expected to get the car back today, but it still isn't ready. All the bits are on the workbench. My father's eyes filled up with tears. I was ashamed of him. We walked to Sainsbury's. My father bought tins of salmon, crab and shrimps, and a Black Forest cake, and some dead yucky white cheese covered in grape pips. My mother was dead mad at him when we got home because he had forgotten the bread, butter and toilet paper. She says he can't be trusted to go on his own again. My father cheered up a bit. Sunday, February the 22nd. Sexagesiema. My father has gone fishing with the dog. Mr. Lucas came for dinner and stayed for tea. He ate 3 slices of the Black Forest cake. We played Monopoly. Mr. Lucas was banker. My mother kept going into jail. I won because I was the only one concentrating properly. My father came in the front door and Mr. Lucas went out of the back door. My father said he had been looking forward to the Black Forest cake all day. There was none left. My father said he had not had a bite to eat or a bite on his fishing line all day. My mother gave him grape pip cheese on Rye King for his supper. He threw it at the wall and said he wasn't a blanking mouse, he was a blanking man, and my mother said it was a long time since he had done any blanking. I was sent out of the room then. It is a terrible thing to hear your own mother swearing. I blame it on all those books she has been reading. She hasn't ironed my school uniform yet. I hope she remembers. I let the dog sleep in my room tonight. It doesn't like quarrelling. Monday, February the 23rd. Got a letter from Mr. Cherry, the newsagent, to say I can start a paper round tomorrow. Worse luck. Bert Baxter is worried about Sabre because he is off his food and not trying to bite anybody. He asked me to take him to the PDSA for a checkup. I said I would take him tomorrow if his condition hadn't improved. I'm fed up with washing up for Bert. He seems to live off fried eggs. It is no joke trying to wash up in cold water without any washing up liquid. Also, there is never a dry tea towel. In fact, there are never any tea towels, and Sabre has ripped up all the bath towels, so I don't know how Bert can even have a wash. I think I'll see if I can get Bert a home help. I have got to concentrate on getting my GCEs if I want to be a vet. Tuesday, February the 24th. St. Matthias. Got up at 6 o'clock for my paper round. I have got Elm Tree Avenue. It is dead posh. All the papers they read are very heavy. The Times, the Daily Telegraph and the Guardian. Just my luck. Bert said Sabre is better. He tried to bite the milkman. Wednesday, February the 25th. Bed early tonight because of my paper round. Delivered 25 punches as well as the papers. Thursday, February the 26th. The papers got mixed up today. Elm Tree Avenue got the Sun and the Mirror, and Corporation Row got the heavy papers. I don't know why everybody went so mad. You'd think they would enjoy reading a different paper for a change. Friday, February the 27th. Last quarter. Early this morning, I saw Pandora walking down the drive of 69 Elm Tree Avenue. She had a riding hat and jodhpurs on, so she couldn't have been on her way to school. I didn't let her see me. I don't want her to know that I'm doing a menial job. So now I know where Pandora lives. I had a good look at the house. It is much bigger than ours. It has got rolled-up wooden blinds at all the windows, and the rooms look like jungles because of all the green plants. I looked through the letterbox and saw the big ginger cat eating something on the kitchen table. They have The Guardian, Punch, Private Eye, and New Society. Pandora reads Jackie, the comic for girls. She's not an intellectual like me. But I don't suppose Malcolm Muggeridge's wife is either. Saturday, February the 28th. Pandora has got a little fat horse called Blossom. She feeds it and makes it jump over barrels every morning before school. I know because I hid behind her father's Volvo and then followed her to a field next to the disused railway line. I hid behind a scrap car in the corner of the field and watched her. She looked dead good in her riding stuff. Her chest was wobbling like mad. She will need to wear a bra soon. My heart was beating so loudly in my throat that I felt like a stereo loudspeaker, so I left before she heard me. People complained because the papers were late. I had a Guardian left over in my paper bag, so I took it home to read. It was full of spelling mistakes. It is disgusting when you think of how many people who can spell are out of work.